if we really want to be fulfilled and live an amazing life after kids, all of our joy can't be just on the kids. We have to find joy for ourselves. Yeah. And it's okay to feel a little clunky there and trying to figure that out, because for most of us, our world's been centered around the kids.
That is like a huge aha moment, I think, for a lot of women. And just to say it as simply as that is huge, I think, for people scrolling and to stop by and, they know how they've been feeling, but they attribute it all to their kids. And then the way that you point that back is like, hey, you do have a lot of opportunity here.
Right.
And it needs to be about you.
And just even like the permission and to know that it's okay for all of us to seek joy and want joy outside of our family life.
Yes, I love that. The permission. Like you have permission to.
Not that you needed it from us, but just from yourself.
But give yourself, and if you need it from us, that's going to help
do it,
you
girl.
Feel less guilty. Like you have permission to chase your own desires and dreams, and this is your time.
100%.
Let's go.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Life After Kids with Doctors Brooke and Lynn. I'm Dr. Brooke.
And I'm Dr. Lynn.
And Dr. Lynn is channeling her inner lumberjack today.
If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my red shacket. Borrowed
red
from
plaid
shacket. It's not quite a shirt. It's not quite a jacket.
I know, I've heard that term, shacket.
Yeah. It's not a shirt. It's not a jacket. It's
somewhere between. Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's not a, why do we call it jacamas? Oh, it's not a jacket. It's not pajamas. It's jacamas. Because
your sister
my sister and I have a coat that is so comfortable, and we just are cold-blooded people, and we wear it around in our house, and we might even wear it to take a nap and everything. And so,
you put it on like at night, you put your cozies on and you put the coat on top of it. It's very strange.
I would if left to my own devices. All right, let's tell the listeners what we're talking about.
Oh, we're turning it around. I'm telling them. Well, if this airs when it's supposed to, it's the 22nd. Super close to the holiday, and we wanted to just keep it maybe a little bit lighter. Ordinarily, we just pop on and do a, holiday wish type of thing. I think last year we talked about our favorite movies, just something fun and light. But we thought this time, let's have a recap of 2024.
Yeah, I think the end of the year is the time when we do that naturally, right? Like we think back, think about all our highs and lows, our memories, and I think it's a good place. Hopefully you guys will want to come along with us on that, just Life After Kids, January through December rewind.
Yes.
Recap.
And before we go there, because we want to share some of our favorite moments, at least thus far where we are right now.
Yeah.
But I just want to encourage you, if you don't take the time to do a recap of your own year, this is something I probably started doing about 10 years ago or so. And it's really made a big difference. I like to do it right around the end of the year, or around the end of the year. Like I typically do this the time between Christmas and New Year, or just after the New Year when things settle down and you're back to like, oh, real life again, the holidays are over. But I like to sit down. I do two different things. I like to go through, you and I have talked about this before, all of my photos from the year that are on my phone.
From in your iPhone, yes.
So on my iPhone, the storage.
Date stamped, yes.
And I go through the entire year and just take a look at the pictures, hold space for all the fun things that we did. And
go chronologically.
Yeah, it's a really simple, it's right there. If you take pictures, it's right there, so you can't miss it. And if you have trouble recollecting or coming to mind, because sometimes it's funny, we can get to the end of the year and it's like a blur. And you forget some of the things you did.
What happened? I know. And then your pictures are right there.
And they remind you. So that's a really nice way to have a recap. And I like to write a lot of that down too. Some of my favorite highlights. I'll just take a moment, almost like a gratitude practice where you write down things you're grateful for.
That's right.
I like to write down some big things that happened, or fun things that happened, or memorable things, or whatever it is for the year. That's always fun.
That's cool. If you keep a 5-year journal, you could go back through your 5-year journal and
look through it.
Look through it and see what.
Yeah, I think that's really great. And we typically have like a New Year's Eve day lunch with our kids. Often we're doing it in Florida. We'll each take a moment to recap like one of our favorite things that happened through the course of the year. So
that's
looking back is we're so about saying like, don't look back, move forward. But it's also fun to look back and reminisce and be grateful.
Yeah, definitely.
Wouldn't you agree?
Definitely. Lots of fun.
Yes. Okay.
All right. We're not looking back to dwell. We're looking back to celebrate.
Yeah, celebrate. That word is coming up over and over again. Cool in the gang. Come on.
Since that's my word of the year, I guess that's my song of the year. All right. So we're just going to start with some personal highlights, some personal reflections on 2024. What a year it has been. It'll be the year that, God willing, I turn 50.
Woo! Lynn is 50.
Woo! So we're planning
huge birthday trip to
Newfoundland, hiking. We did a whole podcast on that, on celebrating those milestone birthdays. If you were also born in the great year of 1974, happy birthday to you. I hope that you have a very memorable and took time to celebrate your
or 64 and you turned 60.
Yeah, there you go. 60 is the new 50. 60 is the new 40 even.
Oh my gosh, that is music to my
ears.
Right?
I know. Tell me.
Well, who were we just talking about that had their first baby at 51?
Cameron Diaz.
Yes, I mean, anything is possible. People.
So on Facebook this morning, just catching up, I tune in to see some highlights. Oh, darn it. I'm going to forget the first person, but Brooke Shields turned 59. So almost 60 years old. And then, oh, shoot.
I just watched a movie with her.
Lisa Kudrow turned 60 years old.
No.
Yes.
Stop.
And she has really aged well. She kind of still looks like the same old Phoebe. And I will say, I don't think she's done a lot of interventions or surgeries or all the things.
I haven't seen
their own, but it's nice.
Yeah, no
it's
judgment.
Refreshing.
To see that.
It's kind of strange we say that, but it is, especially in Hollywood, that's kind of going against the norm to stay natural.
Yes, I agree.
In a lot of cases.
That's fun to hear that, and I haven't seen her in public or on like any recent movies. I'll have to look up and see. It's always fun to see people that we follow and love. That's what made me
people that are growing up with us.
Yes, and doing it gracefully and well. Yes. And to each their own with aging. Obviously, like each one of us are going to do it the way we want. But the other night, you and I watched that movie together that neither of us loved. No offense if you loved it or made it. Okay, I won't name it. But in the movie, Susan Sarandon played the grandmother, which we were like, wow, it's weird to see Susan. Now I'm just probably giving it away, but whatever.
That's okay.
I don't care. But my point is, I was saying to you the next morning as we were talking about it, I kind of was bummed because if you do the math, they didn't come out right and say her age, not her real age, but her age in the movie, the age of her character. But if you did the math, because she was talking about how when she was 9 years old, something happened to her with her dad. And then like she says like 60 some years later, she's where she is. So we're talking, she's around like 69, 70. And she was like, to me, watching it, I'm like, that's not what 69, 70 should be. I thought she was in her 90s.
Right.
Did you feel that way? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I thought it was like, no offense, Susan Sarandon, but I just think it was like bad. It wasn't realistic. So they were having her play trying to make her older, and then she wasn't. Like, so just like it ping pong for me. I didn't get that. But so yeah, chalk that up to just like Hollywood reality gone wrong.
My point is like, is youthful.
Yes, I know. I do love that.
Yeah.
Another personal highlight reflection for me is, and you guys are probably going to fall on the floor with this, but I always talk about got to find the silver lining and looking for the positive side. And I had to look really, really hard for this, but I found
Wow. Good for you for bringing it up.
Well, I had to find the positive side or the silver lining of menopause. Right? Is there one? Is this a thing even? Is this a unicorn? No, but I think so. What I found myself in 2024, and my family will back this up, is I'm naturally a very introverted person. That just means, again, it doesn't mean that if you're introverted, it doesn't mean that you don't necessarily like people, or it doesn't mean anything other than you recharge by being alone. Mm-hmm. Okay. I also don't care to talk to strangers. I like to think a lot, so I tend to not speak in public. But an upside, and I've read about this, and I've talked to some other friends who have noticed this, is you can become more extroverted when you're in menopause, and I believe that that's happened. I feel like I've hit that
You can become more extroverted?
Yes, where I now talk to strangers.
I've noticed you doing it. I almost fell on the floor the one this year we were traveling and we were in an elevator and you started chatting with the person in the elevator. I was like, who are you?
And here's the difference. I could have done it before, absolutely, but it would have taken a lot of effort. It doesn't take as much effort. And I think it's hormonal.
Wow.
Some in part, and then in part you're just getting older, and when you go through those transitions like menopause, you just sort of start to learn that you don't necessarily care what people think as much about you.
Right.
And you just sort of say what's on your mind.
You're not as worried about that.
Not as worried about that. But I think for me, that was a very, very much a personal highlight. If you know me and you know me well, you probably realize that that's a big
It's a big deal. I know for sure. I've seen you in action doing it too. You're not just saying that. You actually did. But I also wonder, I mean, it may have something to do with hormones and menopause, but I wonder if it's we were talking how you and I have both grown with life after kids. That because we talk about so much, like take those little moments to talk to somebody else and just put yourself out there in an act of kindness. So that might also be subconsciously rubbing off on you too.
For sure. I think it's a combination of things, but I think my reason why I chalked it up to menopause, and I'm going back a few months, but I do notice it like wax and wane through the cycle of the month as well. So I do know there is a hormonal component. And this is just for your introverted friends. You know, they, just because they don't talk a lot or they have to recharge doesn't mean that they don't want to feel connected or like look longingly at wanting to be that person who can do that, you know, relate to people more effortlessly.
Yeah.
And so that was a personal win for me, for it to be a little bit easier to do that.
That's awesome. No, why? What?
I don't know.
I love that.
That's
very raw and vulnerable.
Yes, that's how that looks for me.
And that's great. And I would also say it's so funny to watch as we're recapping the year, and you brought up menopause because I went through all that far earlier than you. Like I'm pretty much on the other side of it, but you walked through that. I don't think either of us realized that what was going on with me was menopause, but I was a disaster. And now it's so funny to watch you because I'm like, but there have been so many times through the course of the year where you're like, there's something wrong. I'm dizzy. I'm this, I'm that. I feel a little lightheaded. So let us be a reminder to you because, you know, we've done episodes on telling people that obscure symptoms with menopause, but unless you're reminding yourself when you're in that moment, you can start to get concerned again that that's not what it is, right? I'm not making fun of you at all again, but just to help you, but also to help anybody that's listening. Right?
So good. Yeah.
You've seen a lot of those changes in you this year, though. Would you agree?
Yes. And if you are in menopause and you do have some weird symptoms, get them, you know, have them.
Make sure it's not something else.
Yeah. But, you know, chances are it could be related. So, and then lastly, my personal highlight and reflection. Some of you guys know that we are writing a book, and by now that book is almost written, and that will be talk about putting yourself in a place of stretch and outside your comfort zone. I mean, we're both comfortable with writing, but just the scope of a project like that
we've not done before,
that you've not done before. So that's just a testament to, you know, good things come through doing hard things. So.
And that also that anything is possible regardless of your age, because who knew?
Yeah, that's great.
And regardless of...
And have positive expectation. I mean, we didn't know what was going to come from doing this. We're doing this because it was answering questions for us. It was what we were going through. It was a way to relate that and a way to teach and give back and contribute and taking steps forward and doing your life after kids, doing your purpose, finding more meaning and fulfillment. You just never know where it'll lead you.
By taking the first step, because we did not take the first step into life after kids saying we were going to write a book. That wasn't even anything we spoke about. But when you take one step, it leads to another step. It opens more doors. You grow yourself more. You learn more. And pretty soon you're 2 years in going, look at what we're doing.
Yes.
So it's
always trying to get better, but always just amazed by how far we've come as well.
And it's an about for any of you who are thinking about doing something different with your life. It's an about face from what we were doing previously. You know,
your life.
We were both seeing patients.
Yes.
So you just never know, and you dream big and build the things that you want to build. I would say with that.
For sure, that's something that you can totally, I would say, get from that example, right?
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about some of our favorite memorable posts. We put a lot up on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. I think that they're kind of like children a little bit when you send them off into the world, you just never know how they're going to turn out.
Right.
But you love them. You love each and every one of them because you poured your heart and soul. And I know, at least for me, it takes a couple hours from start to finish sometimes to make a post. And it's a labor of love, really.
Yep.
To put those posts up for you guys.
Yep.
So thank you so much if you do follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And
if you comment, interact,
if you even
really
just
appreciate
send a
it.
heart to that, even if it's not something that you particularly love, when you like something, of course, if it's not something you like, don't like it, because that sends us a message as well. We need to know what content you're wanting more of. But if you appreciate what we've said in that moment, please, give us a comment or a like, because that helps. It's really truly what keeps us going. Would you say is the DMs and the messages and the comments from all the women, the amazing women like you that you're listening right now to this, in your car or walking your dog, wherever you are. And we thrive on that, really and truly. So let's talk about some of our memorable posts. I prepared a few, but I bet you can just come up with them, because I didn't. I think I remember, like I said, there's labors of love, and I could come up with them. And even going back a couple years, I remember the posts that we've done. So my favorite posts are always the ones, and this is Life After Kids. This is really the spirit of who we are, but the ones that are mom-centered, right? We've done some really great viral videos on both of us, on the kids, and those are fun. Those are usually always fun. And so heartfelt as well, and so poignant at times. But the ones that do really well, that are about the moms, that just lifts my heart, because it speaks to what it is that I know, the expertise of what we can do.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah, and I think there's other really, really great accounts out there that speak to that parent-child interaction. So if you follow Grown and Flown, she's wonderful. Whitney, I forget her last name, but Parenting Teens and Tweens.
So great.
So good. We admire those women and their accounts. And, I think what's really cool is they have a little bit of a different niche than we do. So it's not a competition. It's really more of like, I want to say, it's a well-rounded sort of approach for a mom in this phase of life. So
good. I love the 70s, 80s. Grew up in the 70s and 80s.
That
those are
one
funny.
is so good.
Yeah.
I share the heck out of those on our stories.
Yeah, so do I.
Whoever does that.
So do I. I like, if we're talking about posts, my favorite are always the ones that are just goofy. And I probably annoy half the women in our community that see them, because I don't know. I think it just depends on the person doing the post, because everybody's seen a reel that they think, I'm not talking about my reel specifically, but just a random reel that you find hilarious. And then you'll happen upon ones that are meant to be hilarious, but you're just like, oh, that didn't hit the mark. It didn't land the way it should have, and you kind of feel a little bad for the person. So I hope that's not me. I don't know how many of you seen the things where I think I'm super funny, and you're looking at it going, yeah, that missed the mark. But my favorite ones, if it's just selfish, like me not thinking about how you all perceived it, are the ones that are funny, because I enjoy making myself laugh.
You keep us laughing over here at Life After Kids, and we appreciate and love you for that. Above all, that's my favorite part about doing this with you, is how much we laugh. And it's for sure because of you getting us started with it.
Well, I don't know, but we do laugh a lot, which is so, I don't think I laugh more, anyone that I spend time with, more than you. I do laugh a lot with Kenny too, my husband. He's funny, but you are funny in your own right. You always want to think you're not.
Let's be real. I am the straight woman over here. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny.
And I brought you a long way.
I am not trying to be funny, because when I try to be funny, it does not work.
Yes, it does. That is not true. That's why I don't appreciate you say that about yourself, because there have been so many times, especially since life after kids,
it's funny how we see
you
ourselves,
are
right?
just like, you'll say something, I'm like, that good for you. That was so fun. You know what it reminds me of? This is a metaphor. You know the movie The Holiday, which, so this is the holiday season. It's a good time to bring it up. If you haven't watched it, I'm sure you've all watched it. It's like maybe my top favorite Christmas movie or holiday movie. But you know that scene where
I know that movie well.
This is not to say
sitting
like
on the edge of my chair.
You and I are romantic, but that scene where Jude meets Jude Law for the first time, and he's in the house, and she was like, we should maybe kiss. You know, she goes through this whole, I'm never going to see you again, so let's just kiss. And then they kiss, and she was like, I don't know if it was that good. Let's try that again. And then they kiss again. And then she stops, and she's like, you should probably know that I'm not very good at this. And he's like, I cannot for the life of me believe that's true. And then she gets up, and she is going to the bedroom, and she's dragging the bottle of brandy, and he's like, see, you're already better than you think. And that's where I'm like, with you, see, you're better than you think. You're funnier than I actually, every once in a while, that'll pop into my mind, like, you're better than you think you are. You're self-deprecating.
It's so satisfying to quote a good movie like that. But yeah, I love, now you got me wanting to watch that. It's this time of year. We need to go binge some Christmas movies after this. But I'm just trying to get off that
I'm sorry, now you're thinking about Jude Law.
Yes, woo, get on here. But okay, back to your favorite post. So
I definitely love the one that I did with Andrew, and I don't even think, because my kids don't like to be on Instagram, I don't even know that he's on it. Everybody else in the house, but it's like me driving me laying in bed with like scared look, like behind every good mother of an older kid is a teen or young adult living their best life. And every mother that lays awake at night worrying about her kid is a teen or young adult that's living their best life. And it's clips to Andrew like driving, and he's got his sunglasses on, and there's this music going.
It's the music. It's like dun 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 dun.
Yeah, dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it's the back in black, and it's
That's right. Thank you. I had to sing it to get there, but
obviously
that hit a chord. If you haven't seen that video, it's tagged in our Instagram profile because it went extremely viral, and so it definitely hit a nerve and was shared like I think over 170,000 times.
It's crazy.
Because parents were sharing it with children, and children were sharing it with parents, and it speaks to
every
both
mother
generations.
has been there, and so has the kid that's trying to have fun. And the mom's like, "When are you coming home? Where are you? Watching you on Find My Phone and all those things." So that was one of my favorites. Go ahead, I'll let you.
One of my favorites. It did really well, and it wasn't. It was like a sleeper for me, but I appreciated that it did well because it was, I think, so important, and it was delivered. It was me sitting in a rocking chair, and it was things not to do as a mom. If you're feeling lost, things not to do. And basically, if you read the caption, it talked about, don't act rejected.
Yeah.
Don't be passive aggressive, and don't play the martyr. And what I thought was great was for women to, it was millions of views again, and for women to receive that information so willingly, that I appreciated that. That basically showed me that our community is like very open to like learning and changing and being better.
And being your best self.
Yeah. And it's true, because I've done that. Passive aggressiveness, or like playing the martyr, all the things that I've done for you. It's such a normal response. It's like a knee-jerk reaction for moms, but I think it is one of the things that we could work on stopping, because it gets
be self-aware about it.
Yeah, it gets in the way.
Right, and we don't want to put that on our kids necessarily, or have that drive them away, because we're like, look at everything I've done for you.
Yeah,
that's a really good one. I really like that.
I also like the one just talking about taking risks. We've had.
I was wondering if you would go there. 2
of them now that have done extremely well. Just talking about risks, and it's a major, hit a nerve, a hot button for you guys, for our community, because every time we post something about it just takes off. And so I think we're sensing that we need to take these risks, that we need to put ourselves out there, we're not seeking more comfort. We're actually wanting to put ourselves back out in the world in a meaningful way, to feel useless, to feel needed, to feel powerful, and to, what we realize on the backside of that is that to do that, you have to take risks, good ones, good risks, right? Not risky risks,
right?
Calculated risks, growth risks, places that we've not been there before in order to stretch.
For sure. Yep. Absolutely. I think a specific topic for me that has hit home, I think, for many of us, and for me, even writing it. Because a lot of times I'm writing about things that I'm going through or things that have hit hard for me. And it's that...
I think that's one of the reasons why our posts do as well as they do, is because a lot of content creators will batch their content, meaning they'll sit down on a Friday and do like a month's worth of posts. And
which is better for productivity.
It is. It really is. But you and I don't do that because we want to leave space for that organic feeling of like that.
This is where I am right now.
Authenticity about the life that we're living is the same one, very similar to what you're going through and what you're feeling. And so I think that rawness comes out.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go back.
No, that's okay. Saying. I think just pushing and talking about the fact that if we really want to be fulfilled and live an amazing life after kids, all of our joy can't be just on the kids. We have to find joy for ourselves. Yeah. And it's okay to feel a little clunky there and trying to figure that out. Because for most of us, our world's been centered around the kids.
That is like a huge aha moment, I think, for a lot of women. And just to say it as simply as that is huge, I think, for people scrolling and to stop by and, they know how they've been feeling, but they attribute it all to their kids. And then the way that you point that back is like, hey, you do have a lot of opportunity here.
Right.
And it needs to be about you.
And just even like the permission and to know that it's okay for all of us to seek joy and want joy outside of our family life.
Yes, I love that. The permission. Like you have permission to...
Not that you needed it from us, but just from yourself.
Give yourself, And if you need it from us, that's going to help
do it,
you
girl.
Feel less guilty. Like you have permission to chase your own desires and dreams, and this is your time.
100%.
Let's go. All right. Favorite posts that did not do so well. So these would be the ones that maybe just for whatever reason, like there's different reasons post content might not strike a chord, but the message in the caption or the writing is very powerful. And so I have a couple of those where I loved the message in what I was trying to say for myself. And the first one would be feeling both happy and sad. So the I think it was just a video where I was walking and could see like I had a cup of coffee and it was just kind of reeled and played over and over. But it was the essence that you can feel both happy for your kids and be grateful that they're succeeding and living their lives and, not at all taking anything away from them on that side, but at the same time feeling a little sad that life has changed for you. And it's okay to feel both of those
space for both of them at the same time.
I think that's a huge, huge, huge point. Because I take a lot of issue, and I know it's well-meaning in most cases, but a lot of times with comments, there'll be women that pop on there and they'll say, well, just go live your life, or just go try not making it all about your kids. And it's like, oh, thank you. That's really helpful. But for some women, they need to feel both, and it's okay to acknowledge. We just need to acknowledge that feeling before we can get to a place of action.
It doesn't mean you're not happy too. You can hold space for both. Yeah, it can be a both and
simultaneously opposing emotions can exist at the same time.
Yes, and we should allow for that.
That's the human experience, by the way.
Absolutely, and it doesn't have to be one or the other. And it's because those moments with your kids were so sweet that you feel that sadness. Right. So it was a wonderful time in all of our lives.
Yeah, even though we knew what the goal was, and we're happy about the goal. And
say, see you later. Sayonara, Sammy.
Kick you to the curb.
Right. Here's your hat. I say it to my kids now. Here's your hat. What's your hurry?
Yeah. Here's your hat. What's your hurry? That's so good. Do you have one?
Yes, and again, it's just like a stupid, frivolous one, and I still am singing the song. I still sing it to my kids, but I'm on the phone and it's to Bruno Mars, and it's like yeah, you know what it is, because I just love the song, but it's like mom, because I'm feeling this push, as many of you probably are. The kids are getting older, especially if you have like a senior or one that's in college. When they are around, you just feel this need to want to spend time with them, and yet they want to be with their friends. And we talked about this in a previous episode, so go back and listen. It was a summer one where you're prepping for your kid to go to college, that they're pushing back and becoming independent. They want to be with their friends. So I'm like on the phone, and it's like a midlife mom wanting to spend all her time with her kids before they leave. And it's like, where are you going? Where are you at? Oh, you got plans. Don't say that. I thought that was, I cracked myself up. It didn't do so well, but whatever. Maybe it was, I don't care whatever it was, but I had a lot of fun doing that. And Billy got a good chuckle over it too. But we do that. But you'll see. I think you'll do that with Lila this year.
Oh, totally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm already doing that.
Right.
But and it's just
in the last half of the school year for her, you really will.
Oh yeah. It's different. It's fun to see all the different places that we'll all get to. Right. That's what life after kids does. Kind of helps show you not only what's in the past and what you're feeling in the present, but also forecast what's coming for you. So hopefully we're doing a good job of all of that. Another one I had, and do you ever just have these moments that are just like things come together and like light bulbs go on? And for me, it's always when I'm driving and it's like at the most random times and there's nobody around for me to tell. And it was, March is a heavy month for me. We talked about this on a previous podcast. I don't think I get enough sunlight where I live and enough outdoors, and it just piles on. It just happens to be my one low productivity month of the year, and low mood of the year. And so one morning, I think just right around that time is when it lifted, because I was driving, and I live in the Midwest, and I do live in a beautiful area where we have to kind of drive through country to get to our practice. And I live in the one part of Iowa where there are some hills. It's not completely flat. And I was driving and the sun was coming up, and I just looked around and I was like, I'm missing all of this. Like, look at this. It's stunning. It's beautiful. If you look for it, it's there. Mm-hmm. And I got to work, and that entire whole day was good. And later that day I did a post out in my backyard with my dogs and the trees. And I went out there and took some breaths of fresh air. And my point was that I was trying to make with my reel, it maybe didn't come across, is that like nature, if you are sad or low or feeling down, nature has so much to heal you in it. I mean, there's so much beauty all around. You just need to wake yourself up to it. Yeah. And not miss it.
If you're in a place where you're looking or needing something to be grateful for and you're not feeling it because you're particularly down, if you stop to look around at creation and what's going on, there's plenty to be grateful for. Little things.
Yeah, stop and smell the roses.
Yeah, and the beauty in nature. I think the beauty that's around.
Yeah, it sounds cheesy, even in the winter in Iowa, you can find it. It's really,
absolutely
right. If you're looking for it, you will find it, and that's the key.
Right.
Start looking for it.
Agreed. Very good.
What else? Any others for you? Or memorable standouts?
I don't think for posts. I mean, I could talk about posts, but those are probably my two favorites. Again, I like to do funny ones. I can share some of my favorite memories.
Please do, yeah.
Do you have any more posts before we circle back to that?
No, that's great. I want to hear your highlights.
Highlights from the year, or recap. Well, a lot of them are because they're life after kids are with you. You've already said it, like the book deal for sure, and the way our community has grown for sure. It's been so much fun. The trip to England, I mean, come on, we went with the kids, the senior trip, amazing. And I've had now, at this point in time, 2 kids in college, but I've had one that left for college and in the midst of 2024 decided that he didn't like the college and came back home to go to college. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff going on. Big recaps, but all good stuff. And finding the joy in all of it has been fun and interesting. It's like I feel like the theme song for my life is what a long strange trip it's been. You know that song by the Grateful Dead? It's by
Grateful Dead.
What a long strange trip it's been. Yeah, I sort of feel like it's been but that's life, right?
Yeah, that is life. And I think that's where if you can find it, that's really where the cool lessons come out of, and the parts that like just surprise you the most about life. And I think there's something really cool you can find in those times.
The move.
We
moved. That's been a
big
huge
move.
deal. The big move
Of 2024.
Yeah, the move of 2024, and moved into a new house, 2 kids in college, the last one in high school. I mean, there's a lot of big things happening in the Stillwell house.
Lots of family
so that's been
highlights there.
Yeah, and the really interesting thing is my theme. Do you know what my theme word for the year of 2024 was?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I know what it is for next year.
So it's fun to go back and look at those too.
Was it something about being on time?
No, that was 2 years before. Ago. That didn't go so well. I think I just need to, whatever I actually want from the year, pick the opposite word, because that seems to be what's happening in my life. Because the 2 years ago was punctuality, and that did not go well. So I'm giving you all grace if you pick a word and you don't stick to it. Here's your chance to say it's okay, because I didn't do so good either. Guess what this year's was?
Well,
peace.
Oh, goodness.
And I think it was the exact opposite of a peaceful year.
Yeah.
But honestly, though, ironically, being able to, is as much as there was like upheaval and uproot, just even from the move and just the kids going on to different things and transitional year, finding peace in the midst of that has been the lesson. So I think there's something to be said for that.
So you still got peace.
And learning the areas, like during the move, I wouldn't say that I had that peace, but being able to look back on that and see, we talked about the just get throughs.
Yes.
And I figured that out with my accountability group, that I need to take the time to find peace and groundedness even in the midst of life's chaos and twists and turns.
Sex and the City, did you ever watch that?
No, not much of it. You watched that far more than me.
I just love that series. But and if you're there with me, there was Charlotte went to get acupuncture because she was trying to conceive and she was having trouble. So she went to Dr. Mao.
Oh, Dr. Mao.
Dr. Mao.
Interesting.
But she's in the middle of New York City and she's getting acupuncture and he leaves her alone and she's like all flustered because he tells her to relax and she's trying to relax and you can hear the cop cars blaring and all of the noise of the city. And so he comes in to check on her and she's like, Dr. Mao, I can't relax. And he's like, Charlotte, the noise of the city will always be there. You just have to find the quiet inside.
That's so good.
Right? Yes. So the chaos is always swirling potentially, but the lesson and the success and the win is finding the peace and the quiet inside.
And let's leave with that, because for this holiday season, I hope you will know that the noise and the chatter of the holidays is going to be there, but let's all try to find the peace inside.
Love it. And the joy and the harmony and the blessings.
Yep.
All the good things.
Absolutely. And take some time to recap the year for yourself and see all the great things you did and what you could learn from the things that didn't go the way you planned.
Yes.
It's a great way to end your year. Ladies, a very, very, very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you.
You did well this year, Mama.
Yep.
Good job.
Yep. We're all doing the best we can. Thank you for joining us again today. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. The website is www.lifeafterkids.com, where you can find all of our resources. Have a great day and an even better week, and enjoy the heck out of your holiday.
Big, big hugs.